Okay, what's a language? Yeah, um, kind of hard actually to define, but we know this. We know that languages have two components, and this is a fundamental thing that Searle needs in order to make his case, to try and say that Turing is mistaken. So he uses this idea of understanding a language, and that languages for sure have two components. And the two components that they have, first is all languages have a syntax. A syntax governs the grammatical rules, or are the grammatical rules. That syntax is what determines what is and what is not a well-formed formula or a full sentence or something like that. So all languages have a syntax, and syntax covers the grammatical rules of the language. All languages also have a semantics, and the semantics is the meaning of the symbols. And so languages have two components. They have a syntax, which covers the grammatical rules, and a semantics, which is the meanings of the symbols. Now, back to the Chinese room. Now, inside of the Chinese room, remember, Searle was handed a piece of paper with the Chinese characters on it. He goes to the rule book and he matches up the character that input with what he's told to output. And so he sees this symbol, he writes that symbol. He sees this symbol, the rule tells him to write that symbol. And then he spits out an output. And again, like I said, they could have a conversation for hours. But does he really understand the language? And the answer is no. But the Chinese speakers do. So, how is this happening? Well, what Searle's argument is that the difference between the two is that, and now I'm speaking of the person inside of the room as if they were a machine. The difference between the people outside of the room and a machine, or the person inside of the room, is that the machine is only operating syntactically. That they're only operating on syntactic rules, and they don't understand the semantics. That they do not and cannot understand the meanings of the symbols. So they can wonderfully and amazingly manipulate all of those symbolic objects, all of the syntax. But what they don't have is the ability to understand the semantics. And I'll spell this all out in PowerPoint. I haven't written it yet, but I will. Uh, and the argument is roughly like this, right? Uh, that the Chinese room passes the Turing test. However, right, the difference between the person inside of the Chinese room, i.e., the computer, and the people outside of the room is that the people outside of the room have intentionality. And in this paper, intentionality is this mental ability to understand the semantics, to understand the symbols, the meanings of the symbols. The person or the machine inside of the room is merely operating syntactically. And so, therefore, syntactic manipulation of objects is insufficient for understanding a language. And so, further, one more conclusion, therefore, that mental states are not functional states of the brain. Hope I didn't butcher that last one too much. It'll be in the PowerPoints. So again, one more time, the difference is that the people on the outside, us native speakers of a language, we don't merely operate syntactically. We, in a sense, also operate semantically. We understand the meanings of the symbols. We can do both, whereas the machine only appears to be able to manipulate syntactic objects, which is insufficient for understanding a language. Or as I like to say, to end this class, to end all my lectures, to end everything out with this. See, you're not a computer. Okay, this is not going to be the end. There's going to be just a little bit more on the next video. Okay.